everybody. How's it going? Of course, I think I'm talking to myself. I'm often talking to myself. Keep bumping the mic, the camera. So the most recent YouTube video was Transformers Prime First Edition Bulkhead. Just such a fantastic figure. It's one of the older videos that I shot, also because it was a fantastic figure. And I figured it deserved a reshoot in the modern style with the full backwards and forwards and everything. It comes with this wrecking ball. It plugs into his tailpipe there. Of course, that's just the other side of his fist. It's blooming a bit more than I would want, so let's see. Yeah, it's better. That's pretty cool. Transformation's nice and straightforward. He's got these shoulder pads that have kind of a double armature there. It's a bit of a park to put him out of the way like that, but it just helps manage the figure a little bit better. This mushroom joint in particular likes to kind of pop loose. Probably just break one day. I don't know. It's pretty solidly built. You can see screws, which are rare in modern figures. You know, he doesn't have any hollows. He's a solid figure. I mean, under the feet maybe, but I don't know. The first edition Prime figures were kind of the last figures that were made old school, you know, high quality construction. It's a really interesting figure. There are a lot of places where there's kind of an angled hinge, which I kind of like generally. So right here we have a diagonal hinge. So it goes from being his back ornament to being lined up with the thing, the side of the truck. Also, there's like an off-center hinge here. It's more of like a bit of a floppy because it's got a little give to it. So it folds over like this. It does tab right there, but it folds up like that. Helps to have the arms up out of the way to do that. And we have this bit. Got to create a little clearance there so the head can flip through. And then this parks up there until the arms are out of the way. We can bring the arms down. The arms have these spring-loaded shells. They can get stuck. I mean, not stuck, but they can kind of get stuck in. But they're just so they can get out of each other's way when it's in vehicle mode. We can go ahead and flip these up out of the way for the time being because we need to get the sides of the truck in first. Those sides are on like an armature, swing arm. And it does help to kind of tweak this out of the way a little bit, but I can get into that in the stop motion. And these tab in. I'll show you on this side. There's actually a tab there, and there's a, which tab is it? It's this tab here on the wheel. And that all tabs together. Tabs in, get everything in. And then the flanges on this actually kind of capture the arm, which is why this can't be down when you're putting those in. And then you can lower the hood piece or the roof piece. It does, you know, it does line up a little better as you go along as everything gets lined up. We flip down this cod piece. We straighten the headlights up because they do get an angle. They're trying to imitate how the thing looks in the cartoon. And then we can lift up the hood. It's just super satisfying. I like a figure when it transforms, like where there's kind of a big chunk that transforms. So I'll show you that chunk here in a second. We're going to put the feet away. This, you have to make sure you bend at the correct knee joint so it gets around, but the thigh kind of hides inside the lower leg like that. So we're going to do it again. And then we tab these two halves together. And then we That's the part I like. Just a nice big movement. There's a whole chunk of stuff and it just... Really satisfying figure. These Prime first edition figures were, again, the last figures that weren't hollow and didn't have snap-on wheels and stuff. And they're just really great figures. And the last gasp of that generation of toy. It seems like around that time when they were... I imagine they had all kinds of designs other than the ones they'd already produced. But I think what happened is the price was going to have to go up on these figures, and the big box retailers were like, hey, listen, Hasbro, we need you to have cheaper figures. You know, do whatever you got to do, but you got to maintain the same price point. And so you ended up with the mainline Transformers Prime figures were very hollow, and they had some cost-cutting measures taken, less steps, that kind of thing. A little less engineering. Still pretty clever engineering here and there, especially Viacon. The Prime First Edition Viacon is actually not great, but the mainline Viacon with its like roof that rolls up, I've done a video on it. That's just such a clever, fantastic little figure. But they do have their limitations, and from then on, all the figures were hollow. And presumably Hasbro had already produced the first edition figures, or what were going to become the first edition figures. And so they made a deal with, here in the States, it was Toys R Us. I don't know if there's anywhere elsewhere. But here in the States, it was Toys R Us, and they released them as first edition, you know. And they came out a long time before the mainline figure. Actually, a lot closer to the release of the cartoon than the mainline figures. Probably because they were originally planned as the mainline figures in the first place. But if you can get a hold of some of the first edition figures, particularly this Bulkhead and the first edition Prime, really, really good figures. The ball can actually stow on the trunk rack. Great figure. I wanted to point out to you people who don't read my community notes, but if let me see if I can. So I'm setting up a community site at a place called Locals. It's a little bit like Patreon, so you can pay whatever you want to. At the $5 mark, you can get engaged with me more. Although, you know, I'm not all that pressed for time for engagement anyway, so you're not going to get a lot out of that yet. But you would have the satisfaction of throwing some support my way, and each week the newest video will appear on that platform at Locals, and then the video the following week will trickle to the YouTube premiere, and each week there'll be a YouTube premiere and a new video on Locals. This coming weekend you can expect Vinyl Tech Smokescreen to appear on YouTube, and Beast Wars Tigatron MP50 will appear on Locals. So we can take a peek at Locals for a second, if I could be so bold. Let me try the display capture. Here we are. And of course you have the... I'll drop the audio so it's not quite so noisy. But I did a full video production for Vinyl Tech Smokescreen. I figure going forward, when I have off weeks, I might use Vinyl Tech to fill in off weeks. Anyway, you can head over to Locals, plsdrew.locals.com. I've unlocked the video for anyone who wants to watch it, but just trying to encourage some people to sign up for the Locals platform and then maybe consider supporting me in my endeavor. So that smokescreen video is on Locals right now, and you can watch it right now. And then next week we're going to have Tigatron. This coming Sunday we'll have Tigatron. And we'll do the YouTube premiere of this guy. And of course next Wednesday, or Wednesday is still going to be a discussion of whatever figure premiered on YouTube. So next Wednesday we'll be talking about the Vinyl Tech Smokescreen, and the following Wednesday we'll be talking about Tigatron, because he will have premiered on YouTube by then. So it's just something to keep in mind. if you've yearned and longed this entire time to, how can I support you financially? You know, if you've been asking yourself this, then you've got an opportunity to do it. And I just wanted to make sure that anyone who did so was in a position to get a video that they can't get elsewhere, at least for a week. Let's see, we got a little discussion. I've always wanted a Transformers Prime figure. Then look for Prime First Edition. They're the best ones to get. Except, like I said, Viacon, First Edition Viacon is not really that great. It's complicated. But for my money, the right Viacon to have is the mainline Viacon. Epic Crown says, how's your day been? Yeah. My day's been fine. How's your day been? Anyway, it's not a very long video today because this isn't a very complicated figure. But he's just super chunk, you know. Oh, like all that moves all at once. And that's where his like butt and his back get revealed. Just a big sliding mechanism. So smart. And then we separate and straighten out the legs. Straighten out the legs. We pop the feet out. I found Tigatron pretty interesting so far. He's on loan to me from the Chosen Prime. Fantastic vendor. He will get you stuff right away when you order it. I live in Virginia. They're off in Arizona, I think. And I will order things from them on Monday, and it'll be there by Thursday. So if you order early enough in the day, they will ship it that day. I don't know if any of you ever go to like Big Bad Toy Store, and they're going to ship it, you know, 4 days after you order it. They're going to finally get around to actually putting it in the mail. And then it comes pretty quick, you know, but still, you can't beat Chosen Prime for prompt shipping. So again, these flanges actually kind of slide inside the slot here, so you have to lift this up to get these out. That pop you heard was one of the forearm bits popping loose. But this goes up, kind of covers up the headlight, the angled headlight. Do the same thing with this one. Separate it from the arm. So we leave that there for a moment. For a mome, as they say, as the kids say, you know? Kids that don't like saying all the syllables. So we're just moving the arms up and out of the way because we need this to come in. Well, I get ahead of myself. So we flip the head over, straighten this out, and it tabs in. So there's actually a tab here and these two tabs. And so it actually does lock in. And then when this comes back, it tabs into that same bit. Like so. And then these flip on that angled hinge. Just a fantastic figure. You can't do much better than something that's well designed. And it's got some decent paint applications on it. There's kind of a silvery paint application here. The face kind of has the same, maybe a lighter gray version of sparkly silver. The plastic, the beige plastic for like his upper arms, and that's like kind of a sparkly. In days of yore, probably suffer from that gold plastic syndrome, but I don't think it will because they've improved that since the Beast Wars days. But just a great figure. And it like really captures the chunk of the cartoon version of him, and has a nice clean back. You know, I guess that you could call this hollow, but it's not like it's like transformation hollow, not back of the leg hollow. There's no hollow on the inside of the leg is what I mean. The forearms are complete. But just, I figure somewhere there's an alternate universe where, you know, the markets didn't do what they did and the big box retailers didn't do what they did, and we got a full line of Transformers Prime in this quality. It would have been real nice. But we live in the universe we live in. You'd have to go to eBay. There's not going to be any place you can get this. This came out in, I am not sure. It was before. It was in the midst of Generations. Came after Transformers Animated. I don't know. Probably 2006, 2007. I don't know. These are fairly old figures at this point, so you'd have to source them from eBay or wherever. They're not. There's not an easy place to get them. Let's see what kind of crazy eBay prices these have if you're tempted by it. All right, so I'm gonna not type a space in the middle of that again this time. Stupid. So we'll go first edition Bulkhead. And then we'll look at, let's see here. Where's my options? I'd want to look at completed auctions to get the right idea, but the existing auctions look like they range in price from like $90 to $200. So you can probably get them for under $100 if you just kind of watch eBay and keep an eye out for a good deal. But even this one, it shows the same picture for each one, so I got to think it's the same person selling it. And they're asking for $105 and $90 for the same one. So that's where you'd get them if you tried to. I highly recommend it. It's a very good figure, very satisfying, very toy, and you know, better than just about any mainline figure today. He was better than mainline figures a month after he came out when Hasbro. There's another version of Bulkhead that's like the chintzier version. I probably should have brought him for the live stream, but I didn't. I'm just gonna have to live with myself. Let's see, what other commentary do we have? Do I have Thunder Leader? You're talking about the one that turns into kind of a wolf? Yeah, I get that. Yes, there is a third-party company, a KO company, making Transformer Prime figures with improvements. They've done Optimus Prime so far, I think. They've also announced a Megatron. Yeah, Bulkhead will probably come up because it's just such a well-designed figure. Why wouldn't they want to reproduce that? So maybe wait for the oversized KO. I think they're oversized. Because that lets him get away with it. Now Hasbro can't say, you stole our figure, because they'll be like, but it's bigger. And then the judge will be like, yeah, it's bigger. It's not even the same thing. I don't think that worked for Wei Zhang, though, because Wei Zhang got shut down because they were doing a little too much KOing. Which is a shame, because Wei Zhang owned Vimy, which were doing those really cool little figures with supersized heads. You know, super deformed figures. That was fun. I did the video for that Megatron. But we won't get those anymore, because Vimy apparently was Wei Zhang, and so sad. Oh yeah, I don't know. No, I don't have Thunder Leader. If you're talking about like the Wei Zhang Black Apple Prime, yeah, you're talking about like the one that's like a little bit improved from they improved like the back. I mean, I liked Wei Zhang had some good design, and you know what they did that was original, like their enhancements, were really good, clever technical solutions to getting things moved around. It's a shame they felt they had to steal the whole rest of the design from Hasbro because it got them in trouble ultimately. Little too similar when it's basically the same thing. Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I have no doubt the Black Apple was oversized, much improved, better paint, improved transformation. They always did a really good job. The one I have from Wei Zhang is the old Evasion Prime that Wei Zhang came out with, where they improved it by having like the Evasion Prime from Hasbro, the Voyager figure, both the wheels, the double wheels in the back of the truck were just both on the lower leg. And what they did for the what Wei Zhang did is they took, how did it go? God damn. I don't know. I'm forgetting it now. But there was like basically a linkage that brought the wheel around, and the linkage was right where the knee was, so it didn't interfere with the knee movement. And that was a really clever engineering improvement on the old Evasion Prime. But the Evasion Prime is such a clever design, and you can't give Wei Zhang credit for most of it, because it was a Hasbro designer that came up with that. So most of what makes Wei Zhang's version of Evasion Prime good is the really clever design that the Hasbro designer came up with. But you know, it was fun. My political philosophy doesn't lend itself towards trademarks and copyrights, so in my perfect world, you would still have a Wei Zhang. They would just still be doing whatever they wanted to do. Anyway, gang, that was a good question. I like that question. Thanks for asking about that. Like I said, this is a short one. Wasn't too hard to transform them. The video pretty much said everything you need to know about it anyway. This Sunday I will be shooting Tigatron, and this Sunday we will be premiering the YouTube, this guy. These guys were pretty clever for their time. They're very die-cast. They're super die-cast. Like, just about everything you see there is metal. The whole shell of the car is metal, at least in the original Vinyltech figures. I think the alternators, they made them plastic, but the Vinyltech figures, I preferred them. So all the ones that came out in metal in Vinyltech, I got. But then a couple of late releases like Optimus Prime and Rumble and Ravage, they were, I could only find them as alternators, so I just got the plastic alternator versions of those. Well, I mean, I'm going to talk about this figure next week, but since you asked the question, the joints are pretty stiff, but he's not really designed to pose, so he tends to just kind of stand there. The arms don't have like a mid-bicep swivel or any of that. But like I said, I'm not going to give myself nothing to talk about next week by talking about him prematurely. But you know, they can stand. They can strike just a basic pose and stand, and there they are, you know. But they're not great figures, but people are very curious about them, so I figured I'd just start shooting them as filler figures. And I had a filler figure to shoot. They're pretty well engineered, but I don't know. They're lacking in a lot of ways because they're trying to hit that die-cast 1/24th scale car mode so hard that everything else is compromised. Am I going to get Knight Orion? Okay. This guy has all the good questions. I am not going to get Knight Orion, but I will try to source, I'll try to borrow him from Chosen Prime when the time comes, whenever he's released, and that's possible. He's just not my cup of tea. I've got Challenger, and Challenger to me is like one of the perfect figures. Just, it's a great figure, and it looks like the truck, it looks like the robot, and Knight Orion, if I think I'm talking about the right thing. Toy World. Now you're making me question myself. I'm just gonna double check, make sure I'm not talking out my ass. Toy World. Yeah. Yeah, I am talking about the right thing. So the thing that bugs me about Toy World Knight Orion is it doesn't look like the truck very much. The truck mode is very compromised. It's got like a weird shape to it. And you're like, okay, well, as long as it's in service of a fantastic robot mode. But the robot mode has like a weird sort of, I don't know, deviation from aesthetic. I don't like that either. So it's not a figure I'm going to spend money on, but it does look all complicated and stuff. Toy World can always be relied upon to be, one, complicated, and two, have clearance issues galore. So I could probably help people out with those clearance issues and getting the sequence as clean as possible, as possible as you can get with a Toy World figure. But I'm not gonna pay for it, so it'll probably be a while after it comes out before I source a loaner from somebody. Yeah, Vinyltech doesn't work unless you're really trying to stick the vehicle mode with an interior. Otherwise, why even bother with the interior? Why not just have a better robot? I also got the Alternity figures. There was 4 different molds. They did a lot of recolors, but there were 4 molds of Alternity. And they were like smaller vinyl tech, but with a little bit of an automorph flavor to them. There were some steps in the transformation where you have to kind of move 2 things at once because they're kind of like linked. And they were a smaller scale. They were, I don't know what scale, but lower than 1/24th. But alternators are cool for what they are, but they don't make great robots. They make great cars. So, I mean, you're almost tempted to store them in alt mode because you've got a really nice 1/24th scale car that's all die cast and painted, and it's nice. It's real nice. But they don't make great robots. All right, Cormac. Well, next time we'll be talking about him in particular. Maybe giving you a little peek at Tigatron before I have to return him. But that's it for this week. Thanks everybody for stopping by, and have yourself a good week, and see you Sunday. Bye-bye.